Ukraine and Russia are still at war, but tonight we'll bring you all the latest. Also on the program, Duke and Cambridge. In Wales and Scotland, the lockdown restrictions has been released. Also on the program, the Mail Northern says how can we help Ukraine? And what is the French news for this week?
Itv Evening News with Owen Shreves.
Good evening and welcome to today's Evening News. My name is Owen Shreves. Russia and Ukraine are still at war, but we don't know when it'll be over. But tonight we'll bring you all the latest. Daily Salience White Kyiv as Russian troops the ADVANCCINC on the ground capital TSTALL. Here is the latest.
A missile strikes. The camera dislodged as a fireball sends sheets of glass flying. What starts as a rescue becomes a recovery. The cause was Vladimir Putin's war. And here was the consequence. Destruction where pizza takeaways and florists and a bowling alley once stood. Among all the grey, the bright red letters of the sports club, smoking ruins, shattered glass, and many lives lost. Clutching his cross, the chaplain arrived with a prayer and a warning.
Russia is a terrorist and it will not stop with Ukraine if they're set on it. Tomorrow it could be a different nation that they bomb while they find excuses for their crimes.
The silence doesn't last for long. Look to the left of the screen. Another explosion, but this one's controlled. Then a rumble as two surface-to-air missiles ascend into the sky. This evening, Russia's Ministry of Defense released footage of its strike. It said the shopping centre was a legitimate target because it claims it was being used to store ammunition. It says the attack destroyed multiple Ukrainian rocket launch systems. It is also close to residential buildings, though. Increasingly around Kyiv, the Russian military is relying on long-range missiles, as nearby its troops are repelled on the ground. The sound of gunfire in the centre of Kyiv this evening. A new curfew, 35 hours long, is underway as Ukraine's military responds to Russia's evolving strategy. Rohit Khatri, News at 10, Kyiv.
Yeah, and the latest of on Kyiv and Russia is on itvnews.com/news. Okay, let's put what's undergoing a war to the side. Now, the Duke and Sussex of Cambridge award during the tour of Bayesian Ancient MAYAN Wonderfuls as William and Kate in AWE. That is the latest.
The ancient sky palace of Caracol must be considered a wonder of the world, lesser known than the Great Pyramids or the Inca cities of Peru, but every bit as impressive. Prince William and Kate were shown the jewel in Belize's archaeological crown today, a Mayan city which dates back to 1200 years before Christ. And despite its height, and the Duke and Duchess climbed it today, this all remained hidden in the remote jungle until being discovered in the late 1930s. The walk up to the top really isn't for the faint-hearted, and despite being 3,000 years old, this structure remains the tallest in Belize to this day. William is, of course, technically a Prince of Belize. This is a former British colony, but land over which his grandmother still reigns, as the Queen is still the head of state here.
Well, it's as relevant as it is in the UK. It's
Whether to have monarchy or not.
Yeah, it's symbolic, and we respect that. I don't think we should take the ills of our past history and carry it forward to the new chapters that we're trying to write. Yeah.
And yet the ills of Britain's past will confront Prince William in the next country on this tour. Tomorrow, William and Kate will fly to Jamaica, where the debate about Britain's past is much more prominent than it is here. There will be a protest about slavery and about reparations. It is an issue we are told William will address. Chris Ship, News at 10, Belize.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's nice. And the weather, and Prince William and Kate in the lovely hot weather. All nice. And not Jamaica. All nice. That's all we need. We all need to know that, do we? More that at iVillage.com.
The business of
So more news on that. That's at iVillage.com/news. Okay, yes, and this week it is a heat wave in Britain. So Alex does the weather in the iVillage.com/news about more or less. We love it. We love a heat wave, do we? We love a good heat wave, do we? Yeah. Did the lockdowns actually make you happier? One study says that someone younger people it did. Check this out.
Two years after the first lockdown, do you actually feel happier? This study by Cambridge and Oxford universities found that 1 in 3 young people said that their mental health and well-being actually improved during lockdown measures. There have been plenty of studies saying that life under lockdown had a negative impact on young people, which is why this new study is so interesting. It flips the idea that everything was over January last year.
Yeah, and check that out at iVillage.com/news.
2 years.
the business.
Yeah? Yes, Mom? Okay. Now on to COVID now. COVID cases rise in England, Wales and Scotland as the travel rules are relaxed. Here is the latest.
As the country heads into its first lockdown-free spring since the pandemic began, COVID too is having a revival.
What's the bed eating?
And for people like Constance, who has a suppressed immune system, higher case rates make her worry whenever she leaves home.
I have definitely curtailed where I visit, when I visit. I think we're getting forgotten. I'm a young mum with a family that depends on me. You know, I matter.
In Scotland, COVID infections have hit a new record high, with 1 in 14 people estimated to have had the virus in the past week. The figure's the same in Northern Ireland, while in England it's now 1 in 20, and in Wales 1 in 25. And that rise in cases is impacting on hospitals, where more than 14,500 people are now receiving medical care. That's around a third of the peak in January last year. And in Somerset, doctors warn that already poses a challenge.
We see pressures due to the numbers of patients that are currently admitted, both with COVID and with other conditions. And it is a challenge to make sure our infection control is as precise and all-encompassing as possible.
But thanks to the vaccine, the number of people getting severe disease or dying is much lower than it was. And ITV News understands that from next week, vaccine centres like this will be offering a 4th dose of the jab to people over the age of 75, those living in care homes, and those who are vulnerable. Some experts are warning, though, that now isn't the time to stop offering free COVID tests for all, which are due to be scrapped in England in 2 weeks' time.
I think it's difficult. We didn't want to be where we were now. If you look back a few months ago, it seemed reasonable to scale down the testing. I'm not saying we should test at the level that we always have, but I think removing all asymptomatic testing is challenging at the current time.
And the question is how much we're willing to allow COVID to spread as people continue to enjoy their new lease of life. Hannah Miller, News at 10.
And the winner for that latest, and all look all for the latest at iTunes.com/news. So sorry about that. My throat is a bit funny this evening, but I'm doing my best. I am doing my best this evening. This evening, I am doing my best, and that is all it's about. Doing my best. Okay, before we go this evening, the swallow of the TERROR subset as Ali HARBI Ali accused of the murder of MP David Amers begins. Here is the latest.
Sir David Amess, a Conservative MP for 39 years, who was stabbed to death at a Methodist church in Leigh-on-Sea last October while he was meeting constituents. 5 months after his death, his family came face to face with the alleged terrorist accused of his murder. It's alleged that attacker was Ali Harbi Ali, who the prosecution said, armed with a knife, tricked his way into a face-to-face meeting with the Southend West MP, before launching his attack and shouting, "I've killed him, I want him dead." The first on the scene, 2 plainclothes police officers who the jury was told arrested him, armed only with a baton and a spray to incapacitate. The prosecution said Ali Harbi Ali is claimed to have carried out the murder to avenge airstrikes in Syria. Sir David's murder was described in court today as nothing less than an assassination for terrorist purposes, carried out because of a warped, twisted and violent ideology by a young man the prosecution say was and is a committed, fanatical, radicalised Islamist terrorist. But the court heard this was no spur-of-the-moment decision. that Ali had carried out reconnaissance on other potential targets, including Cabinet Minister Michael Gove, with 6 different visits to Mr. Gove's home, examining possible ways to attack him. This was before he'd set his sights on Sir David Amess, who the prosecution said he'd killed in a vicious and frenzied attack. Ali Harbi Ali denies murder and the preparation of terrorist acts. Sejal Karia, ITV News.
And Adam B has been uploaded a video, but it hasn't been on YouTube yet, and he's very sorry that by all again tomorrow. And you can get all the latest news at itvnews.com/news. Okay, that's it. That is it for this evening. I'm back tomorrow at 6:30 with the ITV Evening News, but Tom Bradley is here from 10 o'clock with the ITV News from 10. But I'm back here tomorrow at 6:30 with the ITV Evening News. I'm done. Let me find it here. I tell this lady yesterday, I'm really sorry. I don't know why I can do this. Let me make this here. I'm back tomorrow at 6:30. So at 6:30 tomorrow, I'm back here for the ITV Evening News. But from everyone here, good night and stay safe.